IELTS Writing Task 1 Samples. The bar chart below shows the results of a survey conducted by a personnel department at a major company. The survey was carried out on two groups of workers, those aged from 18 to 30 and those aged 45 to 60, and shows factors affecting their work performance. Write a report for a university lecturer describing the information shown below. The bar chart indicates a survey on two different age groups on the factors contributing to make their environment pleasant for working. These factors are divided into external and internal factors. The internal factors are team spirit, competent boss, respect from colleagues, and job satisfaction. The external factors are chance for personal development, job security, promotional prospects, and money. On the internal factors, above 50% in both age groups agreed that team spirit, competent boss, and job satisfaction are essential to make their environment pleasant. Whereas on the external factors, there are contrasting results. On the chance for personal development and promotional aspects, 80% to 90% of the younger groups were in favor, while only less than 50% of the older group thought so. A similar pattern is also noted on job security. With regards to money, 69% to 70% on both age groups said it is essential. In conclusion, the internal factors have similar responses from the two age groups, while they had dissimilar responses on the external factors. The table below provides information on rental charges and salaries in 3 areas of London. Write a report for a university lecturer describing the information shown below. The table shows 2 sets of related information: the relative cost in pounds of renting a property with 1, 2, or 3 bedrooms in 3 different suburbs of London, and an indication of the kind of annual salary you would need to be earning to rent in these areas. Of the 3 areas mentioned, Notting Hill is the most expensive, with weekly rents starting at £375, salary approximately £100,000, and rising to £738 per week for a 3-bedroom property. To afford this, you would require a salary in the region of £200,000 per annum. Alternatively, Fulham is the cheapest area shown, with rents ranging from £215 per week for a 1-bedroom property to £600 per week for a 3-bedroom property. To rent in this area, salaries need to be somewhere between £85,000 and £170,000, depending on the number of bedrooms required. For those able to pay in the middle price range for accommodation, Regent Park might be a more suitable district. The charts below show the percentage of their food budget the average family spent on restaurant meals in different years. The graph shows the number of meals eaten in fast food restaurants and sit-down restaurants. Give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. Over the past 30 years, the average family has dramatically increased the number of meals that they eat at restaurants. The percentage of the family's food budget spent on restaurant meals steadily climbed. Just 10% of the food budget was spent on restaurant meals in 1970 and 15% in 1980. That percentage more than doubled in 1990 to 35% and rose again in 2000 to 50%. Where families eat their restaurant meals also changed during that 30-year period. In 1970, families ate the same number of meals at fast food and sit-down restaurants. In 1980, families ate slightly more frequently at sit-down restaurants. However, since 1990, fast food restaurants serve more meals to the families than do the sit-down restaurants. Most of the restaurant meals from 2000 were eaten at fast food restaurants. If this pattern continues, eventually the number of meals that families eat at fast food restaurants could double the number of meals that they eat at sit-down restaurants. The graph above shows information of employment rates across 6 countries in 1995 and 2005. Summarize the information by choosing and describe the main idea and make comparisons where appropriate. The graph shows changes in employment rates in 6 countries between 1995 and 2005 for men and women. Overall, more and more people of working age are employed, and there have been significant improvements for women, although they lag behind men in entering the workforce. The most obvious trend in the graph is that women have lower employment rates in most of the countries in the graph. For example, in Australia in 1995, 57% of men could find work or retain a job, but only 27% of women. The difference was even bigger in New Zealand, with 60% of women. Even in Switzerland and Iceland, lightly more men than women were in the job market. The second biggest trend in the graph is the improvement in employment between 1995 and 2005. In all countries shown, figures for both men and women improved. The biggest change was in the United Kingdom, from 55% of men in 1995 to 73% over the 10-year period. Furthermore, the increase in employment rates for women were much higher in New Zealand. The percentages of working women jumped from 25% to 42%, and in the United States, from 45% to 61% over the decade. In conclusion, all the countries in the graph showed at least a 12% increase in employment rates for both men and women over the 10 years. While men had relatively higher employment rates throughout the period, more and more women appear to be entering the labor market. The graph below shows the proportion of the population aged 65 and over between 1940 and 2040 in 3 different countries. In this lesson, I will give you the general process for writing Task 1 and how to apply it in each type of chart or graph. First, you need to know the common structure of Task 1 before you start. Task 1 includes 20 minutes and asks you to describe the data which is shown in maps, flow diagrams, or image comparison charts. Therefore, to maximize your score, remember to follow